In 1978, a man stood in a crowd watching police tape off a crime scene. Nothing unusual about that. People always gather when something terrible happens, except his hands were shaking, and his eyes never left one specific spot on the ground, the exact place where a body had been found 3 days earlier. A detective noticed, took his photo, moved on. 2 weeks later, that same face showed up in another crowd, different street, different victim, same neighborhood. He came back 4 more times before they arrested him. Here's the strange part. This wasn't a one-time thing. In 6 out of 10 solved murder cases, the killer returns, sometimes within hours, always within days. Why would anyone do that? Every time you go back, you're basically begging to get caught. Cameras everywhere, witnesses who might recognize you, evidence you might accidentally leave behind. It makes zero sense. And yet it keeps happening. In 1984, the FBI tried something different. Instead of just photographing crime scenes, they started photographing the crowds. Every face at every gathering after a murder. Then they looked for patterns. 17% of those photos had someone who showed up at multiple crime scenes. Different locations, different victims, same face. One person appeared in photos from 9 different states. Think about that for a second. What kind of pull does a crime scene have to make someone risk their freedom just to stand there and look at it? Here's one explanation. When someone commits an act of extreme violence, they feel powerful, completely in control, like they're the most important person in the universe. And then it's over. That feeling vanishes instantly. And what's left is this emptiness that feels unbearable. So their brain fixates on the only place they remember feeling whole. But there's another side to this. A forensic psychologist named Catherine Ramsland interviewed over 200 violent offenders. A lot of them said something completely different. They came back because they felt guilty. One guy told her, "I needed to see if anyone actually cared what I'd done." So you've got 2 opposite reasons. Some come back because they loved what they did. Others come back because they can't live with it. And both happen all the time. The neuroscience makes it even weirder. There's a researcher who studies brain scans of violent criminals. When he showed them photos of their own crime scenes, a specific part of their brain lit up. The same part that activates in people with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Their brain was treating the crime scene like an unfinished task, like leaving your stove on, or forgetting to lock your front door. You know you did it, but you have to go check anyway. Could that be what's happening here? The brain creating this loop it can't break out of? Modern investigators actually use this against criminals now. When a case goes cold, they'll release crime scene details to the media, not to get tips from the public, to bait the killer into coming back. They set up cameras, monitor online searches, watch true crime forums for anyone who seems too interested. It worked in Oregon in 2019. Someone had been following a cold case for 11 years, posting about it anonymously, correcting details only the killer would know. He thought he was safe online. He wasn't. Here's another strange pattern. Most offenders who return do it within 72 hours, usually within 6 hours. Why that window? It mirrors how compulsions work. The thought shows up. The anxiety builds. You can't stand it anymore. So you check. You feel better for a moment. Then the cycle starts again. And here's maybe the strangest part of all. When they finally get arrested, a lot of them describe feeling relieved. One said, "I'd been carrying this weight forever. When they put the handcuffs on, I could finally breathe." That's the opposite of what you'd expect. You'd think getting caught would be their worst nightmare. But some researchers think the returns are actually unconscious self-sabotage. Like part of them knows they need this to end. Even psychopaths do this. People who supposedly don't feel guilt or remorse. They still come back to crime scenes. When asked why, most of them can't explain it. One described it like checking if you locked your car. You know you did, but something makes you walk back and pull the handle anyway. Another said, "That place had a piece of me. I couldn't just leave it there." Nobody fully understands why this happens. Is it ego, guilt, brain chemistry, compulsion? The answer seems to be all of it, depending on the person. Some return to admire what they did. Some return to punish themselves. Some genuinely have no idea why they're standing there. The pattern shows up everywhere. Different countries, different decades, meticulously planned crimes, and totally impulsive ones. The return is nearly universal. So what does that actually mean? Maybe it means violence doesn't give people what they think it will. It doesn't close anything. It just opens more questions. Who am I now? What have I become? Did any of it matter? The crime scene becomes the only place those questions feel real. That detective from 1978 wrote something in his notes. He said the guy looked lost, like he was searching for something he'd left behind. Maybe that's what this is really about. Not why they go back, but what they're hoping to find when they get there. And whether they ever do,